Welcome to Jason the Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And I recently watched the movie, the live action remake, How to Train Your Dragon from DreamWorks. And yeah, watching this, it was one of those movies where it's like live action remakes are so popular right now. Obviously, Disney is really, really going overboard with their live action remakes. Most of them not very good, though I did like Lilo and Stitch. Actually, was my probably favorite live action remake. Now DreamWorks, this is the first time they've got into kind of following what Disney's doing, and they started with one of their most popular franchises, I think, in How to Train Your Dragon. And I'm a huge fan of the original. I saw the original animated movie in the theater in 3D. Actually, it was one of the greatest experiences I've had in the theater, especially when those flying scenes when he's on Toothless. And the Toothless is the dragon, if you don't know, and they're flying through stuff, and the John Powell music is so amazing. I always remember just being like, wow, it's like I feel like I was really flying. It was so incredible. So yeah, doing a live action remake, it looked like from the trailer that this is basically like a almost shot for shot remake where they're using a lot of the same shots they did in the first one. Well, this movie is directed by the same director as the original. So yeah, he's taken all the popular parts of the first one and he's doing it again here in this live action remake. So it's one of those things where it's like, do we need a live action remake when it's basically the same thing as the original? This is just a cash grab, kind of thing. And I agree, it's a cash grab, but it's a freaking good cash grab. It's probably the best cash grab I've ever seen. I really like this movie. I thought this was an amazing live action remake. Remind me so much of what I love about the original. They basically took, definitely the same story, didn't really change anything, presented it pretty much the same way, and it's such a good movie that, it works for me. I mean, I can see someone saying we didn't need it because it's just like the original. I totally agree, but putting that all aside, just going by what I thought about watching that movie, it was amazing. I mean, it did everything I loved about the first movie. The characters, the story, of course, is all really great. I said the musical scores, it's got the same musical score there. Amazing musical score, one of my favorites. The special effects were really great. The designs of the dinosaurs, the design of the dragons was great. It just reminds me a lot of the original, of course. And yeah, the special effects were absolutely amazing. So yeah, it was a really cool. This is what you need to do with live action remakes. This is a good template for what a good live action remake is. I mean, you're taking everything except for being animated. It's CGI, dragons, and still works very well. And the emotional moments are very emotional. Those flying scenes are still amazing. Yeah, it's still a really great story. It still works as a live action remake, especially when they basically did everything they did in the original. So just as a movie, I really enjoyed watching it. Gave me the same feelings I did with the original. Reminded me why I love that original movie so much. And yeah, so in my opinion, great job by them. I really like it. The only criticisms I would say of the movie is, of course, is that you have different actors playing parts, of course. And of course, I'm probably more nostalgic for the original because I love the actors who played in that original, the voice acting. The biggest one is the main Hiccup, the main character in the movie. The original, he was voiced by Jay Buckaroo, I believe his name is. And his voice was so good. And the thing about Hiccup and the way he was animated, of course, is different than live action because in the animated, he's a really scrawny kid. I mean, I don't know how old they are, but he's very scrawny. Jay Buckaroo's voice really fits that character. I mean, it's just perfect casting for that. And the thing about that character is just that no one believes he could fight a dragon because he's just so scrawny. And he gets made fun of because he's scrawny. And his dad, Stoic, is embarrassed of him because he's scrawny, while Stoic is this huge, gladiator of a Viking, very brave and strong and all this. When you get to live action remake, they have, of course, different actor playing the part, and it's just not as good as the original. I would say that's the biggest problem. And it's not that he did a horrible job in this. It's just that he's not a scrawny kid. He's just as tall as some of the adults in this movie. The actor who's playing him, I think, is probably like in his 20s, who knows. And I look at him, he's like, he's a good looking guy. He's not scrawny. He's, just as tall. He was tall as Nick Frost. It's funny, I was watching it. Nick Frost plays Gob or whatever. He was playing that role. And, he's telling him that you can't go out there and fight dragons, look at you. And I'm thinking, he's taller than you, Nick Frost, and he's a better shape. And it's like, I don't understand, like, Astrid's being real mean to him, but I'm like, he's a good looking kid. Like, there's no reason why Astrid would be mean to him in this version. So to me, that was a little unbelievable. The casting was not, I think it was a little bit miscast, the main Hiccup character, I would say. And I'd even say the main thing is the original, I think I laughed more at. This live action remake, I didn't really laugh a lot. And I don't know, just the comedic moments didn't work as well in this movie as it does in the original. And I think a lot of that is, again, Jay Birkerol's, his comedic timing was really good, and I got a lot of laughs out of that. This actor who's playing Hiccup, he did some of the same lines, but yet he didn't have something about his timing that wasn't as good, didn't give me the laughs as I did there. So it hurts a little bit there, where I don't think this version was as funny as the original. The emotional, like, dramatic scenes, though, were really well done, and I think that actor actually did a really good job. I would give him this credit, that I think he did a really good job in the more dramatic moments. And being live action, I think the live action, Gerard Butler and that actor, when they have their moments, actually maybe even more emotional for me watching it, seeing their expressions, and that they're real people, not animated, people, actually I think helped those dramatic moments quite a bit. So I would say comedically not as good, dramatically actually maybe a little bit better than the original. So it's kind of a give and take in that case, in those scenes. Most of the casting was really good, I think. Besides, I said original, or the main actor, I think maybe the only miscast. Gerard Butler I mean, that's so cool to him reprise Stoic. He was so good in the original voicing because he's Scottish. He's got this amazing Scottish accent. Him playing that character again, I mean, so many years later, he's playing that same character, and he's great. He's definitely like a highlight of the movie. I think Gerard Butler getting a really great performance. He also had a great, costuming and makeup and everything looked great on him. And he's always been, kind of a big guy anyway, so he fit the character perfectly. So yeah, of course, perfect casting for that. Probably the best of the whole movie. Like I said, Nick Frost was pretty good casting. I like that. He's playing Gob or whatever, who was played by a different actor. I'm forgetting the name, who had a Scottish accent. Nick Frost didn't have that Scottish accent. So I'd say I kind of like the original performance maybe a little bit better, just because he had a great Scottish accent while Nick Frost really didn't. But Nick Frost still is a pretty good cast there, because Gobber is kind of the comedic character in the movie. And so, yeah, so I thought when I saw him, I was like, oh, Nick Frost, that's pretty good overall casting there. I thought the actress who played Astrid did a great job, reminded me of the original very well. The other actors, again, did decent. I don't know if they're as good as the originals, but it's like, I still didn't mind them. They did overall a pretty good job down the line. So yeah, overall casting really good. I said the dragons they look so good. Toothless is such a great design of a character. They just took the design from the original, and so it's a no-brainer. The dragon can be scary, but it's so cute too. You just love that character because how cute it is. And all the other dragons were really cool. There's this one dragon, this red dragon, who had flames coming out of his skin. That was such a cool special effects design. Like, I was like, wow, that dinosaur, I keep saying dinosaur, that dragon was scary. Oh my gosh, I don't remember that dragon in the original, and I'm like, that's such a cool design for a dragon with a fire basically coming out of its skin. It's like, well, what a cool design. The big bad dragon at the end, also amazing. It's like a humongous giant dragon, way bigger than all the other dragons. And that fight scene at the end, really great. In the original, in this one, of course, they did basically the same thing. And like I said, there's all these amazing shots that were just basically the same shots as the original, but in live action, and it looked amazing. Like, I was like, oh man, it gave me like, goosebumps. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that shot was so amazing in the original, and they redid the same shot, So it's like they're cheating because they're taking the same stuff from the original and just doing it live action, but it works. I think it did a good job. And like, you compare it to like The Lion King, I love the Lion King original, animation movie. It's my favorite anime movie of all time, favorite Disney movie of all time. But the live action remake did not capture the same uh, emotions and all that as the original does, because they're all animated, characters. There's no humans. This one works because there's humans involved in it. In fact, I think you should only do live action remakes if there's humans involved. Like I said, Lilo and Stitch was good because there's humans involved, but there's no reason to do a live action remake of something where they're animals. It's like, why do we need a live action, Lion King or something like that when it's just going to be the same thing? It's just especially anime. It's just CGI'd. So to me, the live action Lion King remake didn't work that well for me, but this really worked. So it's like you can do live action remakes wrong and you do it good. Even though they're borrowing a lot from the original, it's still a really good job. And I love the fact that they didn't change anything crazy. They could have done some crazy changes. They could have race swapped somebody. They could have made a character gay now. That character is now gay or lesbian. They didn't do any of that. They didn't change characters that they weren't that in the original. They didn't change them for this. So I commend them for not making big liberal woke changes that Disney loves doing. Disney does this all the time. So I commend them a lot and not ruining it by making all these crazy changes. And yeah, overall, love this movie. Did everything I wanted it to. I would still think the original may be a little bit better, but I'm still giving this movie a 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I'm giving it a perfect score. I still had so much fun with this movie. Still a great story and done so wonderfully, I think, in this version. And right now, it's my favorite movie of the year, which is, again, it's cheating. It's taking a really great movie from the past, doing it again. It's great. It was great back then. It's great now. So it's now my new favorite movie of the year. We'll see if that stays or not. But anyway, so that's my thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon. Please feel free to comment what you thought about How to Train Your Dragon. I'm kind of curious how many people were able to put aside the fact that it was a remake and just enjoyed it for what it was. I'm pretty curious about that because there's a lot of biasness about that. But anyways, besides that, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for liking it. Thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate y'all and I hope you have a great day.